Good evening. My name is Cecil Caesar Young. I've been a community activist here in the city of Bridgeport for over 50 years, and it troubles me because I had the audacity to want to complain about these contaminated toxic waste piles that were left at the city health department on East Main Street in that area, that I was basically harassed to a point whereby I had to basically ask my doctor for a medical leave of absence from my job, which the city denied me. You will see a doctor's note from Dr. Walters, 3 doctor's notes that they denied, not allowing me to be able to have a medical leave of absence because of the harassment I was getting, because of me complaining to the DEP, to State Senator Ernest Newton, as well as to the Connecticut Post, along with Mayor Fabrizi at the time. It's a shame and a disgrace that I was basically forced to have to get married on that day. Not that I was intending not to get married, but I had to get married on that day because I feared that they would terminate me because of me complaining about these contaminated files. So because of that, I told my wife we better get married, which on that day by Judge Paul Ganem, who married us at his courthouse on that day, 2006-16. It troubles me that I was still terminated, nevertheless, because they claimed that I did not come to work. You will see here, as of 3/17/06, I was at work, and I said I was at work, and I said that I would be leaving to go get a colon exam on the 17th. And it's a shame and a disgrace that after being with the city for 27.5 years, I can be told that my job no longer with the city of Bridgeport exists, and therefore my position with the city is hereby terminated effectively because of March 17th, me not returning to work, as of March 17th, because I allegedly did not return to work. Even though you will see over here on March 16, 2006, I did return to work, which is clearly stated and shown by my time card. This is my time card showing that I was at work. It troubles me as well on that same date, 3/16, you will see this notice from Ada, Dr. Evans' administrative assistant, who also I made her aware of the fact that I would be going out for a colon exam on this date. It's a shame and a disgrace that she made a note of that. Nevertheless, Dr. Evans sent a letter to me telling me because I have not returned to work as of March 16, 2006, my position with the city of Bridgeport is hereby terminated. It's a shame and a disgrace that someone can be terminated after 27.5 years who's never had a problem in terms of his attendance or anything else for that matter pertaining to my job. Nevertheless, that was done. What really added insult to injury was that Alfred Murphy, one of the labor board commissioners, literally had the nerve to accuse my doctor with literally showing up with literally strips of paper, he calls it, scraps of paper, which was not the case. As I showed you a little earlier, those doctor's notes were doctor's notes from my doctor, Dr. Albert Walker, who was a medical doctor. And to have the labor board to try to cover up for the city of Bridgeport because I had the audacity to want to stand up and speak out about these conditions at the city health department is a shame and a disgrace. What also troubles me as well, when I went before Judge Richards was told by the assistant city attorney's office that even if she wanted to overturn the labor board's decision pertaining to my unjust termination, that she does not have the power to do so. And believe it or not, she went along with the assistant city attorney telling her what she could not do, which is a disgrace as well. And I'm telling you that as a shame, as a long-time community activist, it's a shame in the city of Bridgeport that someone of my nature can be terminated for speaking out about terminated toxic waste piles. I was also denied my medical benefits as well, a day or two right after that. And to have me have to hire an attorney to take my matters to this court, which is Superior Court on Main Street, and to have her rule against me in behalf of the city is a shame and a disgrace. And for me to have to spend X amount of thousands of dollars to hire an attorney to appeal my case before the appellate court, and then to have the appellate court not want to look at this case, to not want to look at my situation pertaining to me appealing my matter. They literally did not want to look at this because they didn't want to embarrass Judge Richardson in terms of the ruling that she made against me. Shame on Judge Richards, shame on the appellate court judges as well. It also gives me a sense of insult to have the Supreme Court likewise, who likewise ruled against me by saying that they really basically did not have the time out of concern about wanting to look into this matter, and basically what they did was went along with the judge's decision pertaining to my termination and allowing it to go forward as it was. When in essence, I should have never been terminated. For as you can see here, these judges from the Supreme Court the appellate court, from Superior Court, had no right to basically deny me my right to be able to be returned back to work as I once was. You know, what troubles me as well, when you talk about people having the power and having the authority to violate the public's trust, well, these judges did just so. And I say to them, shame on these judges, from the state court as well as from the appellate court to the Supreme Court. No one is above the law. And to have these elected officials and to have these appointed officials to ignore the law, when basically what they will do is, to any person who sits on a jury, they will tell that individual that you cannot judge the case based on hearsay, she said, or he said, but based it on the evidence. It troubles me that these same judges who ruled against me did not rule based on the fact that I was at work, even though this letter here is showing that I was terminated for not coming to work. And I ask you to go to my website, www.cecilyoung.com, and you will see on my website all of this information in black and white, spelling out specifically that they had no right to terminate me after 27.5 years because I had enough nerve to care enough to speak out about these conditions. Shame on the city of Bridgeport. Shame on these state officials as well. You know, they said if you see something, say something. Since 9/11, I seen something and I said something. Huh? Seeing something, saying something, and being persecuted for it is a shame and a disgrace in 2014. That a person can be persecuted and not be judged based on the evidence, but be judged based on what someone else wants to do in terms of trying to suppress my rights to speak out about injustice and the kind of injustice that's been allowed to go on in the city of Bridgeport pertaining to residents of the city of Bridgeport. Here again, I talked about raw sewage in the basement of a public housing project that I grew up in P.T. Barnum. You will see here, I have also attacked by city council members who basically forced me to have to undergo an operation which caused me to have 34 staplers in my back to be split open like a pig, okay, because I dared enough to care to want to speak out about these conditions. Look at my back. To this day, I have not gotten any apology from the mayor, from any council person, from anyone pertaining to my attack, pertaining to these elected officials who attacked me when I spoke out about these sewage conditions in the public housing project that I once grew up in, that I spoke out about. No one should be allowed to attack a taxpayer. That's what I am, a homeowner and a taxpayer, as well as an ex-city employee for 27.5 years. And to have me terminated for not coming to work, and this is what this letter states, as of March 20th, 2006, my position was hereby eliminated. How could that be the case? How could that be the case when you got evidence shown here in black and white that I did come to work on March 16, 2006? And I also informed that I would be going for a colon exam on March 17, 2006. Okay? And here, again, as I said earlier, to have Ada, the Dr. Evans administrative assistant, to make a note to that effect, to give to Dr. Evans, telling her that I would be out because I was going for a colon exam that coming Friday, and to have her still nevertheless send a letter, okay, indicating that because I have not returned to work as of this date, my position with the city is hereby terminated. How in the world could that have happened? Huh? 3/10/06, I was sent a letter telling me as of Friday, the 3rd month, 17th day, 06, you have not returned to work, and therefore my position with the city is hereby eliminated, terminated. How could that happen? How could that happen when you have all this overwhelming evidence, and then to have these judges on a state level, okay, on a Supreme Court level, on an appellate court level, to want to totally ignore all of this evidence is a shame and a disgrace that I could be forced to have to spend close to $25,000 to try to defend myself, and to have these judges who sworn the oath to be fair and impartial, to not even want to entertain the possibility that I was my rights were violated because I dared enough to care. You know, you talk about people being above the law. No one is above the law. Black, white, blue, Jew, what have you. No one is above the law. And to have these kind of judges to ignore my situation. Huh? These are Supreme Court judges. Huh? Why would they turn around here and not want to look at this evidence that my lawyer submitted to them, showing them that I was at work as of March 16th? Why could that have happened? And that is why I'm saying to anyone who sees this profile, I am looking for an attorney. If there's anyone out there that is concerned about wanting to pursue this matter for me, I would like to take this matter to the federal court since I can't get no justice in the state court. And it's a shame and a disgrace as an American, as a taxpayer, that this kind of situation can go on in this day and age, in this time. And that is why I'm asking anyone of whom it may concern, if you see this flyer, if you see this profile, please contact me to let me know what would you be willing to take this case for. Because I should have been allowed to be able to continue doing what I was able to do, which is seek my treatment that I have not been able to get because of the constant harassment, the constant intimidation of these elected officials. No one is above the law. You know, they say if you see something, say something. Well, I seen something and I said something. No one should have been attacked like I was. Look at this back. To this day, no one has said, Cecil, are you all right? Got attacked speaking in the city council because I dared enough to want to speak about raw sewage being allowed to flow into the basement of a public housing project in Bridgeport, P.T. Barnum, which is a project where I grew up in. And to have me to want to care enough to want to speak out about this and to be targeted, to be persecuted for it, I say shame on these state officials, shame on these city officials, shame on the labor board. The labor board always says that their thing is about trying to save jobs, not taking jobs. Not too long ago after I was terminated, there was a number of state employees who got terminated for fraud, for committing fraud by receiving tax dollars, state dollars. Yet and still, the governor requested that they be terminated, and the labor board said, no, we're not going to terminate, and they reinstated these folks back to their position. And the governor allowed that to go on, even though in the beginning he said he felt like they should have been terminated for what they did. Yet and still, every one of those persons that was terminated was reinstated or either was allowed to retire. In my case, that was not the case. And I'm saying if we expect people to want to get involved, to want to speak out, to want to say something about what they see, they should not be left out there alone. And it was said, I am a whistleblower. That's what you call it, a whistleblower. I blew the whistle on these conditions that was allowed to go on in the city of Bridgeport, because there's no way in the world that these kind of conditions should be allowed to be laying dormant in our neighborhoods where our kids can play on them as they were playing on it. In this situation here, as I demonstrated, there were kids literally on top of these contaminated dirt piles right next to the health department playing on these dirt piles, not knowing that these dirt piles could cause cancer, could cause other type of respiratory problems. Yet and still, because I dared enough to speak out, dared enough to care, to want to say something about it, to my state Senator Newton at the time, to the DEP, to the State Department, to the Connecticut Post, Bridgeport, Connecticut Post, and to Mayor Fabrizi, it was like, hey, you don't have no protection? I thought whistleblowers have protection. And in my case, the protection did not stand. Maybe I should have went to Russia. Maybe I might have got somebody that maybe wanted to care about somebody like myself, okay, wanting to do something for somebody else who would not get nothing done if it would not have been me to come forward. And I say shame on the city of Bridgeport, shame on the state of Connecticut. And again, as I said before, I am looking for an attorney that will be willing to take this matter to federal court. I've since passed this information on to the U.S. Attorney's Office, who had referred my complaints to the feds. And I am looking for the feds to take some kind of action against these state officials and city officials for violating the public trust. No one is above the law. No one is above the law. But because of their connections, because of who they know, who they in bed with, they feel like they are above the law. And that is why they were able to do what they did and to think they can get away with it. Well, I'm saying to the Supreme Court, I'm saying to the appellate court, I'm saying to the state court, no one is above the law. And yes, I will continue to speak out about these conditions in front of the Superior Court this coming Tuesday. And I will continue to ride around the city as well as the state to speak about these conditions, because no one should have been allowed to take action against me as a taxpayer, as a community activist,